Hello everyone and welcome. Before we get started with today's video, if you want to get inspired to create your epic love story, go to 7daysofinspiration.com. That's 7daysofinspiration all spelled out.com. We have some really exciting things for you. I think you're really going to like it. So go ahead, open up your browser, go to 7daysofinspiration.com and we'll see you there. Why should we forgive people who hurt us? Now, I know this could be a really sensitive topic. I know some of us, and myself included, have had people hurt us in really, really horrible ways. And I know we might even think that forgiving them is letting them off the hook or excusing what they did or somehow justifying or making right what they did. And in this video, I want to really open up this idea of forgiveness and open up this idea of letting go of the wrongs that have been done to us, and how that empowers us to truly create the kind of relationship we're looking for, and also the consequences that happen when we don't do that. And I want to share a personal story with you. When I was 16 years old, and I fell in love for the first time. This was my first relationship. Her name was, I'm not going to share her name, but this was my first relationship. And I'll tell you, I fell hard, okay? Like, we're talking about all my fantasies of love that I had watching every Disney movie it growing up, and like it all came true when I was 16 years old, and there she was, and we fell in love, and we had this intense fall hard, fall fast, and it got bad and ugly, and we would scream and fight, and it was a crash and burn relationship, but we were together for about a year almost, and you know, so much of what I thought I wanted, I was so young and so immature, and I had no idea what I wanted, but so much of what I thought I wanted, I had in that relationship, and I was so. I mean, it's not what I think love is now, but I would say at the time I was so in love with her, and she crushed me. I mean, and I'll just like, it's all good now, but she just crushed me. And when I look at how crushed I was by that relationship, and then I look at how, and I was 16, I was a kid, right? This was my first heartbreak, and that was intense. I mean, some of you remember your first heartbreak, it was probably intense. And I look at how the next several years of my life played out until I finally started doing some personal development, because, you know, some like our first heartbreak and some of these first intense experiences are so heavy, and they shape so much of how we think about and how we view life, that until we do some work to unpack that and shift our framework around that, we just tend to assume that's how life is. So I want to share a little bit about how that worked for me, and why it's so important to forgive the people who have hurt us, no matter what they did, no matter how bad it hurt us. And so with her, I'll share the story. And you know, we were kids. I mean, so like I say, you know, I was so in love and all this, but it was kind of like puppy love, but it was still emotionally intense. And long story short, she cheated on me with a mutual friend of ours. And I didn't know that. She broke up with me and kind of told me that it was my fault in some ways and all these things I did wrong. And then I found out a few weeks later that she had actually cheated on me with a mutual friend of ours. And like, I can't tell you, like, in my mind, in my delusional 16-year-old mind, I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with this person. I thought we were going to get married. I thought we were going to have kids. I just thought, like, it never even occurred to me that would not happen. I was just that was the plan for my life. And then I was just so crushed by like this person that I had invested so much of my life and my heart and my all of this in, and then to have her like break up with me and then tell me all these things I did that were like unattractive to her. I was just like, whoa. And then for her, and then to find out that she was actually cheating on me with a mutual friend of ours. And I was just like, it was so devastating for me. And not when she broke up with me, because when she broke up with me, I was like, please, please, please come back. But when I found out that she cheated on me, something shifted inside. And it was like, the only way I could describe it was like, I feel like there was like a knot, and it was just like something inside my heart just went, it just like twisted up. And and I didn't say these words, but on some level, like I made this decision. I was like, never again, never again. And I'll tell you what, like the next several years of my life were so dark. Like I was 16, so from 16 to like 21, they were just really, really dark years. And I don't need to go down in all the details of what happened during those years, but they were really, really dark years for me. I just kind of made this decision in my heart that I was not going to be open, and that I was not going to, that I was going to hold on to this wrongdoing and this pain and this suffering. And I'll tell you, like in my mind and in my narrative that I would tell myself and what I would talk to people about, and I would often say, like, women are like this, they only want what they want, and then when they're done, they just leave you. And I took this one experience that I had with this one 16-year-old girl who was, I mean, she was a child. She didn't know what she wanted. We were kids. And I took this one experience that I had with this 16-year-old child, and I used it to create a framework about what all women are like everywhere, and what all life is like everywhere, and how when you get into all relationships, this is what happen, and this is how they are. And I want to tell you what happened over the next few years. Like, first of all, I didn't have many relationships, and from 16 to like 21, when a lot of my friends were dating and getting to know people and having these awesome relationships, I was not. And why was I not? Well, honestly, because I was closed off and I was afraid. And I did have a few relationships along the way, and I dated here and there, and I, tried to get involved with people, but nothing really connected. And let me tell you something, when I did get involved with someone, it wasn't good. It was like I had to absolutely be in control of the situation. I was so insecure. I was so afraid. And I wouldn't open up. And none of my relationships lasted very long. We're talking like 5 years. And it was a lonely and a dark period of time in my life. And when I finally started to do some work, when I was 21, I actually went through I was in a year-long relationship. It was my longest relationship since I was 16. And this person and I broke it off. And it was just like, it's a story for another time. Super toxic, super devastating. And I was just sitting there going like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are my relationships like this? And I made a decision, like, I really got to figure out what's going on here, because this is crazy. And I started doing some work, and I started to unpack this stuff. And I saw that I had framed it all in such a way, and I was approaching relationships from such a perspective and a perception about women, and about how relationships were, and about how they happen, and about what you can expect, and about what you deserve, and like, there was so much. And this is the kind of stuff that really, when we go into our programs and we start to unpack and explore this stuff, you start to see all the stuff that's operating under the surface that you don't even really know is there. It's like, until you really start to explore this, what happens is we have stories that we tell ourselves. Because when I was 16 years old, I had my heart broken, and then I start telling myself a story. And if I never stop to question that story, I just keep telling that story, and then that just keeps shaping my relationships over time. And this isn't anything really that fancy that I'm talking about. This is like basic psychology. This is what we all do. This is how we create belief systems, and then how we create our lives around them. So as you start to unpack this stuff, and as you start to see how it's all happening, and you start to experience how it's all happening, and you start to understand what it's costing you, you free up some space, and you create some new space to have a new experience with men, or with women, or with whoever you're interested in, whatever you're looking for. You create some new space and some new possibility in those ways. So what I want to do is I want to invite you to spend the next 7 days with me. And I've put together this 7-day video series. It's called The 7 Days of Inspiration. And I sat down one day, I thought to myself, like, if I could just, if I had one opportunity to give you a gift, or to share something with you, and I just could give you one set of ideas, or one piece of content that I thought would change your life, what would that be? And that's how I really came up with these 7 days of inspiration. My wife actually sent me a little thing on Instagram that had, it said 7 things you should remember when you start dating again. And I looked at it, and these were 7 ideas that I talk about frequently, but they were worded so concisely, and I was like, you know what, this is really a good framework. So I took these 7 psychologically proven ideas, and I put them into a 7-day video series. And I think really, if you can take each of these ideas and let them in and soak them in, and start to have these ideas become a critical part of your framework, what will happen is it will free you up for so much possibility and so much inspiration and excitement around what is possible for you in love and in terms of creating your epic love story. Because this is what I found about forgiveness and why we should forgive people, is because all those years I held on to that resentment and that, all those, 5 years of my life when I saw my friends having relationships and I was lonely and alone and, and like all those years of my life that I was holding on to that resentment, I was holding on to that hurt, and I was telling the story of how I was wronged and how this is what happens when you open up and how you can't trust. And all the years that I was telling that story, I was missing out on the opportunities in the life that was right in front of me. And fortunately for me, and I think I was really lucky to only do that for 5 years and then finally get to a place in my life where I had to open it up, because I have people come to me and we start working together. They've been doing it for 10 years, 20 years. And it's a lot harder to undo. So forgiveness is so important, and the time to forgive is now. And I want to share these 7 ideas with you because I think they are going to open up some space for you to create a whole new possibility in your life. By the way, 7 Days of Inspiration is absolutely free. Go to 7daysofinspiration.com to register. Thanks for watching this video today. I appreciate you joining me. I hope to see you in 7 Days of Inspiration, and we'll talk soon.